So far, we have covered breadth and depth related to the outcome-based educations. The outcome-based educations is all about the outcome. There should be cycles for different levels of outcome. And the CQI is the spirits of OBE. Because we are dealing with engineering program, there will be graduate attribute, knowledge profile, complex engineering problems, complex engineering activities, and sustainable development goals. All this will have to be incorporated within the curriculum. I observe there are a lot of resistance from the lecturer when it comes to the OBE. A lot of debates has been going on. Different academicians, even those experienced, have different interpretations over OBE, and they have been quite persistent in their opinions. No matter how you explain to them, how do you convince them, they are still reluctant to accept it. There are a lot of misconceptions, and because of this misconception, trying to convince them about the OBE become extremely hard. They have no intentions to know more about OBE, and yet they give a lot of negative comment penalizing the OBE. I also see certain awkward situation when the person managing the program, who is supposedly the master of OBE, do not fully understand OBE. But this kind of personnel, they are the decision maker, the persons who make the strategy towards the implementations of OBE and daily operations of the program. When their understanding of OBE is only half-baked, decision-made implementations will make the OBE become notoriously creating problems, adding up workloads to the lecturer. You also see some, when applying the OBE, having the ego and proud, as if they are the master of OBE, they know everything, and has the tendency to demonstrate their talents and ability, making the implementations of OBE to be extremely detailed and complicated. Again, now, the OBE become more and more difficult to be accepted by the general academicians. Some choose to mimic the models of OBE without knowing the fundamentals as well as the purposes. There is no clear direction what they would like to achieve, except just mimicking the models from the other university. This reduces the benefit and the advantage of OBE. What is left behind are tons of paperwork. Some universities have more resources, financial resources, expertise. They can create software or programs to help processing this OBE, especially when it comes to the analysis of the assessment. There are also universities, especially those which are new and private university, do not have the luxury of those resources. In order to have everything to work out on par to the top university, it is quite challenging and frustrating. It comes to a situation that as if OBE is only applicable to the university which have a lot of resources. As for the university without sufficient resources, OBE is a nightmare. Is this really true? You see all the scenarios that I have mentioned just now, they are having the similar roots of problem. The focus is on implementing the OBE. Wanting or not wanting to implement OBE. The focus is always on the OBE. But you know that OBE is just a tool to help you to achieve the purpose of the program. The focus should be the program. What do you want the program to achieve? The emphasis now has deviated from the most important part, which is the purpose of the program. If you treat OBE as a tool, if OBE cannot serve your program, theoretically you can seek for other tools of equivalent capacity or which is better fitting the purpose of your program. Now the question here is, do you have other tools other than OBE that can help you to achieve the purpose of your program? At the moment, not to my awareness, I don't see other equivalent model that can be used as a tool to replace OBE in managing a program. Let's say now we do not have any other alternative but using OBE. Now if you treat the OBE as a tool, the OBE should not burden you. It should theoretically helping you to achieve the purpose and the goal of the program, which in most cases the emphasis are all at the OBE. They separate this from the purpose of the program and they put all the emphasis on OBE. They nearly forgot they are supposed to serve the purpose of the program. And over time you implementing this OBE, you see your programs going nowhere, as the OBE does not actually serve the purpose of the program, and you only see OBE that you did over and over again, consuming your effort and time. And because of this, how can you convince the people who dislike OBE, especially when you see so many being stressed out by the OBE? You have to think about it. So answering to the questions about OBE versus the rich or poor university, I would say that university that have a lot of resources has the advantage. And if they are willing to invest more on OBE, the intention is not to make the OBE more complex. The intention should be hoping that OBE can bring bigger impacts to the programs and the university. Let's say now you are coming from university where the management do not like to invest as much resources over the implementations of OBE. You can still practice OBE by doing spreadsheet. It is more troublesome. And because of those difficulty and troublesome, you can actually come to a state that optimize the entire OBE model to make it only covering the essential. Those extra, redundant, not really bringing much impact, you can actually choose to remove them. You can apply OBE in the simplest model, fulfilling the minimum requirement as stated by the accreditation body or the IEA based on the graduate attributes. You don't have to do the extra. As for the analysis, you don't have to go to very refined level of analysis if you do not have sufficient resources and software to help you to carry out. Because you know the purpose of the OBE is for continuous improvement. As long as you can identify the weaknesses or relative weaknesses within the program, it is good enough for you to demonstrate continuous improvement by implementing the CQI. I hope the message is being made clear to those that going through this module. On top of that, I would like to congratulate you if you have been taking the entire module, going through every single videos so far. I would like to congratulate you. You are different from many others. Not many will spend time to study OBE, to really digest the OBE. This includes those who do not believe in OBE, and also those who have been quite experienced with OBE, especially those who have been quite experienced with OBE. They feel like they know everything about OBE. It is quite difficult for them to really look into the misconceptions about OBE which has accidentally been implanted within themselves. Now let us look into some misconceptions that normally we encounter related to the OBE. First, OBE won't work. It is as good as without it. I believe by now you will know the answer. Mimicking the format without knowing the essence make it serve no purpose. Is it really OBE doesn't work? If you use it improperly, of course it is not working. Let's say now you use an aeroplane to dive in water. You did not use the right tools to do the right thing. Supposedly you should go for submarine, but you use aeroplane instead. Of course it is not working. It will only be work conditional to proper implementations of the OBE, and you really know what to deal with OBE. OBE is a waste of time. This is half true. I cannot say it is wrong, because there will be a lot of time being invested at the early stage, especially in order to understand OBE, to digest and to build out the OBE system in order to manage a program. However, in the long run, it is actually time saving. Remember that when you want to deal with OBE, one of the important characteristics it will be the sustainability. The sustainability of the program. How do you make it sustainable? You're going to make sure it will never be phased out by the latest development of the industry. You're going to make sure the program is always being needed by the stakeholders. How can you make sure that? That means the program has to be always meeting the needs and the requirements of the stakeholders, the society, the industry, the country, and the entire world is developing fast. You make sure you are not being left behind. So let's say now you have the ability to maintain the sustainability of the program. Theoretically, the program will have infinite durations of lifespan. On this basis, you can look at these two comparisons. At the early stage, you're going to put into a lot of effort understanding OBE, building the OBE system. Assuming now the time is infinite, over the time when the system becomes well established, your focus now will only be on the CQI. You can quickly identify the weakness of the program, and most of the effort will be putting into improving the program. And over times, the area below the graph, which is the total time invested, it will be less than the non-OBE traditional method. Traditional method may seem to be simpler at the early stage. Let's say now the sustainability is not a problem to this traditional method, which is also questionable. Let's say now the non-OBE traditional methods has also infinite durations of lifespan. The same degree of effort is being applied over times. The area will always be greater than this. Now probably the argument it will be, when will it be break-even? Before the break-even point, OBE will spend more time. It is only after a break-even point, OBE will save time. Now if you're looking at a program offering over a long period of time, your intention now it will be by the first day that you start working. Let's say you choose to stay in the program until the day you retire. You want to make sure the program will not be closed throughout your working period. Then definitely it will be over the break-even time. Now I cannot tell when will be the break-even time. It will be very much dependent on how fast you can really fully digest the OBE. If you do not know OBE, the break-even time may not reach in the next decade. That's why it is very important of you really know what is OBE. You may want to argue on this, but you know that what you have observed so far, that really bringing to the waste of the time, it is when the person who manage the OBE for your program may not fully understand the principles of OBE. They know most of it, but when come to the critical one, probably they choose for the safer way to do it. And when everyone is doing the safer way, it will be as if that is the right OBE model. Is it really true? Can you guarantee that all the university will have at least one person really fully digest the OBE? Then when you do the benchmark, you can only assume that the OBE model produced by different universities, they are really the OBE or just partially OBE. This is something that we can ponder of. Next, OBE impose so much workload. This is also only half true. Conditional to the proper implementations of OBE, you will find some ways to work smart. It is only when you are overdoing it that leads to the excess of work. And because of that, you will be overworked. Think about it. Remember, OBE is a tool. It's supposed to help you in managing the program, but not to burden you. If it's already burdening you, probably this is not the right tools, or probably you are not using the tool in the right way. Think about it.